all these years, Jay has been my support system. This time I was Jay's support system.
The word of the decade has been nepotism. So.
And you decided to work with Anurag.
Yeah.
Karan's film was paying you money, and it could have taken a big load off my chest. Until that day, I had never imagined that, let alone winning an award, that I could even attend an award ceremony. Scam, we had the maximum fights and we had decided never to work with each other again. Are you hungover? So we are finally the day is here. I was telling somebody that when the show started, you were not 30, and the show has seen you transiting into your 30s.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. It's been quite a journey. I suggested this format that we will chat, but now it is a bit difficult. So let's see how it goes.
Let's try.
So how does it feel?
I think it's very scary. It's very exciting. But I mean, we've made such a different show, and you know it. We made such a different show. I think what I'm most curious to know is what people think of it. I think that.
Are you anxious about people's responses?
Not really, but I think there are other people who are.
We've seen enough of that.
We've seen
every film we have made in the last 12 years together, we've woken up to an unexpected response very often. So
most of the time. Yeah.
I think you should not be worried, no?
I'm not worried. I mean, not that way. I just feel like this is the first time I've been allowed to make something that's so far away from what we usually do, and making a show with so many different languages also. I think that is something I'm looking forward to seeing.
No, but that is
people's
also
reaction. But I only hope people like it, because it's only going to allow us to do more like this.
So the show, as you know, was being made in Shailesh's office. Supern and him were developing. I think Vishal also.
Vishal was a part of it.
part of the
Vishal
writer's
was-
room at that time. Vishal Kapoor was part of the writer's room. We did not realize that he would become such an integral part and become the primary writer of the show. But at that time, Vasan was in talks to direct the show.
Yeah.
And then one fine day, Shailesh called me and said that Vasan has committed to another film. I think Monica only.
Yeah. I think it was
Monica, Oh My Darling. He had committed to that film, and that we needed somebody. And I had committed to Scoop.
Yeah.
But Shailesh being persuasive as hell, I said it's the only way to do it is that Jay does the show. I will help him. So in many ways it was like the tables had turned. That I was telling somebody today that all these years Jay has been my support system. This time I was Jay's support system through the show, and I've seen you through your early 30s. And it doesn't mean that I'm very old, it's just that you were born very early. You want to tell people how you joined filmmaking?
Oh, I joined filmmaking. I mean, it goes before that actually. I feel my film schooling started with all the DVDs you used to bring home.
The pirated ones.
All the pirated ones you would get from Thailand. You'd come with bags full of them, and I think that's the first time I saw adult movies. So I started watching all those Korean films and everything, and I don't think I ever saw films as being defined by an industry or anything like that, because I grew up feeling like, this medium doesn't really have a language. It can be We've all grown up watching, people in India have grown up watching films like Jurassic Park and True Lies and all, and they love it. So I don't think language is actually a barrier for anybody. And I just wanted to, I just knew that I wanted to make the kind of movies that I've enjoyed watching growing up. And you have a very big hand to play in that. I think the one thing I tell a lot of people, I mean, of course, the word of the decade has been nepotism, so and by a very close friend of ours only. And no, but I feel what's interesting about that is that, when people ask me that, and my first reaction is, I said, you know the Hansal Mehta, who made Shahid and who made City Lights and Aligarh and, Omerta. I said, but that is the father of my sisters. My father is the director of Jayate, Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar, Chhal, 3 unreleased films. Three unreleased films? Yeah. And yeah, because Shahid onwards I was
and the worst in terms of struggle, it was a very difficult phase.
I remember.
Yeah, like nobody got the films. Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar, nobody got the film.
I think it's still your best film.
Yeah, I've forgotten about it. I don't even remember the film anymore.
I think I have a copy of it. I'm the only one who has a copy of it.
I don't see it. And yeah, but so it's... and then I remember you called me, like I was having trouble in your teen years. I was having complaints that you were not attending college enough. And
enough?
Yeah,
Never
not attending college. And I asked you, because I was in my that sabbatical phase which went on for too long. So I was doing nothing. And I asked you, what do you want to do? Whom do you want to work with?
Yeah.
And I remember I sent you to Karan Johar's office.
Yeah, I went to Karan Johar's office.
Yeah, and you were supposed to join one of their films.
We Are Family.
We Are Family. Supposed to fly to Australia for that. And then parallelly, I sent you to meet Anurag.
Yeah, and I just watched Devdi.
And you had watched Devdi, and you decided to work with Anurag.
Yeah.
Karan's film was paying you money, and it would have taken a big load off my chest. But you chose Anurag, who also paid you, by the way.
Yeah.
Who did pay you.
Yeah, he did.
But you joined him in Yellow Boots.
Yeah.
That girl in Yellow Boots. And
I actually joined him on Gangs of Wasseypur only.
Yellow Boots.
But I came back from the writing and research of the film, and then...
No, I think Yellow Boots was before that.
No, it did. But we went to write Gangs of Wasseypur with Zishan, Akhilesh, Sachin, and I went to Wasseypur to write it for 2 months and do basic research. And by the time we came back, I just entered the office and I noticed that everyone was prepping for some other film where obviously there was no script, him, Anurag sir being Anurag. There was no script, so no one knew what the film was. We just knew we were prepping for some movie. So he said, अच्छा तुम लोग है ना, तुम लोग अभी साइड में रखो, तुम लोग इस पे आ जाओ. It's like ठीक है. And then 14 days we shot some film, and then we all only found out what the film was after the edit. And you've acted in the film also.
Yeah, I came basically to find out what you were doing on set. That's why I came for the shoot. Because Anurag sort of pulled me out of that phase where I did not want to be on a set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that, people don't realize that the beginning of the journey was really tough. And, there's an incident that I always tell people, and something that I am always grateful to Anurag for, that I think that has got you here today. When Anurag, there was an unfortunate accident on Anurag's set during Gangs of Wasseypur.
Yeah.
When, I don't know if you also know the conversation I had with Anurag at that time. So his first AD had an accident. He passed away, very young boy. Yeah. And it was very unfortunate. He was your roommate. And, Anurag called me and said that Jay is traumatized. You called me when he had fallen off and you spoke to me. And you were going to the hospital with him. And Anurag called me and said ki Jay is really traumatized, he's crying, he's in a very bad shape. And I said, what do I do? Should I call Jay back? Because how he said ki sir, this will make him if you call him back, he will remain a boy. If you let him stay here, he'll become a man. So I said, but Anurag, it's a big responsibility for you to take.
Yeah.
He's my son after all, he's my responsibility. And he said, कि sir, संभाल लेंगे, हम सब हैं ना इधर. So, it was a tough moment for me as a father, because you were constantly calling me saying you wanted to come back, and I started avoiding you. I don't want to. I don't want you to come back. You constantly wanted to come back because you were so troubled by what you saw and what you experienced. And Anurag kept insisting, sir, रहने दो, उसको रोने दो, उसको जो भी है होने दो. Let him go through that process.
Yeah.
And I think that, in many ways defined whatever, how you made Lootere. I think a lot of that learning comes. Gangs of Wasseypur was 2 films made over 100 days, difficult circumstances, and it sort of prepares you for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think after Wasseypur was over, I think I remember everyone, like the sound designer Kunal or Rajiv Ravi, the DP, everyone, they said कि यार इतनी मेहनत सिर्फ एक बार हो पाएगी. And yeah, it was a tough one, and I mean he's been amazing. He was
He's
always been
that
supportive.
conversation that we had, I can never forget that,
Yeah.
because I never shared it with you, but because it was very tough, because you were really getting upset with me that why am I not getting you back, and he kept saying don't call him back.
Yeah, I'm wondering, they didn't have, I mean, it would have been cheaper to send me back.
Just call him back, usko. So he said, nahi sir, hum sambhal lenge. So him, Vasan, all these guys were really exemplary at that time. And so Anurag can, like, he's one of my oldest friends. He can be terribly irritating at times, but I forgive him all the time because of this one moment in our lives. That he sort of saw you from become this teenager, becoming a man, becoming today the director you are.
Yeah, I think the one thing I've learned from him and you is, I think, just constantly being at it. I mean, you giving up's not really an option. There were lots of, I mean, this was a very tough shoot. Lootere was very, very tough. It was physically very demanding. Also, we were in South Africa for almost 6 months. And I mean, everyone wanted to come back home, eventually. And I think there's just one thing where, I remember Gangs of Wasseypur also, and I remember Shahid also. Both these films, I think, had this journey where it was almost impossible to make.
People kept giving up.
Everyone
Shahid,
kept...
ultimately, there were only 3 people left on the film. Everyone gave up.
And I think with Gangs of Wasseypur, I think, we had a very good direction team, but eventually the process was so difficult, and, there were no really big actors or, of course, except Manoj Bajpayee, but it was just, I think, the budgets were insane. The vision was massive, but it's just like, we got to make it happen. There is no option. And I think I remember with Shahid also, we shot 38 days over a year.
11 months.
Over 11 months, a year almost. So we would shoot 3 days and then we wouldn't be shooting for 2 months.
38 days, what? 4 hours of shooting, 2 hours of shooting every day.
We'd shoot 4-5 hours and then we'd run out of money for the next 2 months.
We had 5,000 rupees on days just to buy
water
and vada pav for people.
Yeah, I remember going and buying the vada pavs.
So yeah, I mean, that is...
So I feel all of this really helped, and I feel honestly, this show felt like a luxury. you know, compared to everything I've already learned and been through, I feel like this was a struggle of a different kind. The struggle here was more about, executing the vision that was on paper. And also the fact that we had so many challenges when it came to weather, when it came to filming on the ship. I mean, we're sitting and writing in Bombay what we think the ship is going to be. You know, they go from this area and they go to the engine room, but what people don't know is from the bridge to the engine room is 7 floors. So it's not really. But when we started going there, and then we realized, because originally the plan was to shoot everything linear. So when you shoot linear, I mean, we can't keep moving constantly. So what started happening was, luckily Vishal, that was the one thing I asked our producer Shailesh. So Shailesh ji, I told him ki Vishal has to be on set with me. Super's too busy. He can't come. You know, he's always shooting.
That used to really give me jitters. That process of yours gave me jitters. It still does. Don't
Anurag.
repeat it again.
That's Anurag.
Don't repeat it again. It's not worth it.
It's not. I mean, it's not something we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it is the situation we were in because of there are lots of
I
factors.
think also that's one of the things that gives the show that its edginess
And its spontaneity.
Its spontaneity. So which is good.
I mean, it works sometimes. It can't it may not work all the time. It's not a method you can use. It's a method that can be used once in a way. I think Anurag's lived by that method, but
not necessarily.
No, I mean, where have you followed scripts? You only started following scripts recently.
No, I follow. I have a see. The idea is to follow a basic screenplay.
Structure.
There's a structure that you must fit into.
Yeah.
Like I remember Faraz, we rehearsed we rehearsed for 6 months, and when we landed up on set, because it was COVID, we could not go to the set. We were in a bubble.
Yeah.
When we landed up on set, I saw that whatever we have written, the geography of the place has changed. It was also a hostage drama in that sense. And the geography had changed. The entire place, I said, shit, where is the bathroom? The bathroom is right here. So this whole bathroom sequence is not going to work. That people hiding on the first floor is open. So this is not going to work, you know. And I asked the producer, I said, why did you do this? He said, no, architecturally, I said, architecturally, my script is changed completely now. So I remember we said, okay, now let's, pretend that we are in a hostage situation and see what we will do to survive the night.
Yeah.
That was the approach. So those things you do, but there was still a basis on which, I believe a script is important for actors to build a character for themselves.
Yeah.
It's for characterization. It is for understanding where what is point A, point B, and point Z.
Yeah, they need to know their graph before
they need to understand
perform.
that. Yeah. Like Shahid, everyone says it was very heavily improvised, but we knew
what the scene.
We knew Shahid's story.
Yeah,
we knew that Shahid went from this boy to being somebody who was killed. Yeah. We knew that journey. Now, in that journey, we were finding him. We were exploring him.
Yeah, I mean, that was essentially what we were doing here also. I mean, we had basic, broad beats, but again, the difference here is because it's a show. I mean, in a film, I think it's still, because when you're filming 30 days, I think it's still easier to keep a track of all the changes you're making. But in a 500-page script, if I change one thing on page 15.
Jay, you were 6-7 years old that time?
When?
When Dil Pe Matliyar was made? No, you were 9 years.
Dil Pe Matliyar?
You were 9 or 10 years old that time.
2002.
2000.
2002 was Chhal.
2002 was when Chhal released.
Chhal released, yeah.
I think very few people know that, that was a time when I was going through a very difficult phase.
Yeah.
Personally, financially, everything.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of credit for that phase, goes to your grandparents, my parents, for the way they saw you through that time. It was a tough time for any kid to be growing up.
Yeah, I think, it is. They never let me feel anything. We were all very fortunate to have them. I mean, they sheltered all of us from all our problems. Even though I was not the easiest kid. I was quite That was intense.
I will certify that even today.
I was intense. I was not the most...
Intense is the wrong word. You're painful.
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah. All the time.
So I remember Prashant Narayanan,
Yeah.
who was there in Chal. So he always remembers Jay as this kid who used to move around in a red chaddi.
Red chaddi.
And Prashant used to call him Mowgli.
He still calls me Mowgli.
He used to say, "Oh, Mowgli hai." Wo, matlab, he used to always, every time you see Jay in the house, he's in a red chaddi.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people still call me Mowgli because of that face.
Yeah.
I remember on Shahid when KK sir also came, he also said, "Hey Mowgli, idhar aa." I was like, Mowgli kaun bula raha hai mujhe? Yeah, I think it's because of them, Amma and Papa, that you also were able to, do what you wanted. I think even though the burden of making a successful film or making a box office success, success is relative, but making a film that, makes a lot of money and people think, people only see the glamorous side of it. They don't see a lot of people don't know the struggle of the man behind the person who made Shahid and City Lights and all of that.
That's a lesson that I always tell everyone, that my struggles are mine.
Yeah.
And the output is for the world to share with, to celebrate with. The struggles are our own, everybody. Everybody in this industry, from the biggest studio in the country to everyone they have their own struggles, and I think we are not here to sell our struggles.
Yeah.
We are here to celebrate the fact that we are able to do what we are doing.
Yeah.
And
I feel I was allowed the freedom to do whatever I wanted because of you, because of them. Because
they would have been proud today. This is
unfortunate.
Time,
I wish they were here.
Yeah, that they were there.
But at least one of them got to see Scam. Papa.
He did not watch the whole show.
He didn't. He slept. He slept after the third episode. I forced him to watch the 3 episodes also, and then
it was a time when he was also in hospital at that time. So
he was in and out.
People don't realize that the time when Scam came out, we were dealing with a very serious health issue that Papa had. But those are things that so when Shahid won a national award, we a year before we lost Amma. So it's life is always.
No, and I still remember when Shahid screened the first screening of Shahid at Mami.
She was there.
She was there, and we'd gone to Inox at Nariman Point.
Yeah.
That was the first screening.
You know what she told me then after she watched it? It was the first time it was shown in public. And she said, okay, you get ready for, you build a shelf, you are going to get many awards. And I think till today, everything that, that whole shelf that is there has her photograph on it, because it's because of her. She, until that day, I had never imagined that, let alone winning an award, that I could even attend an award ceremony. And that entire shelf, I think, is somewhere, it's her blessings.
It is, and I remember, I think you were most upset about the fact that the first screening of Shahid at Mami was not a packed house. I think it was maybe...
That was the one.
Yeah, 40% occupancy, maybe at the most, I think 50%,
yeah.
And
so most of them were family and friends.
Yeah, most of them were people we knew. And I think you were very upset, and you felt that, I think I've made a good film and I don't understand why, and we had just come back from TIFF. So we had expected the film to open up really well, even at Mami. But I think you were very, you'd taken it pretty hard. That the fact that, they never get to see, people actually appreciating my movies, and because they didn't come to Toronto, and Toronto had a very good audience, had a massive audience.
Also the next show, they were not there for the
second show. They were not there for the second screening, which was I remember people sitting on the aisles at Cinemax.
So word spreads, see that's the thing, good work, no? Word spreads and the audience speaks.
Yeah.
and whatever the audience is. So the learning from all that was that your work has an audience.
Yeah.
It might not be the audience that somebody else's work has, but you are not here to aspire for somebody else's audience. You are here to aspire to build your audience, to grow your audience as much as you can.
Yeah, I think we are all ultimately, I mean, we keep saying things like, we are making a film for the people and for the audience, but we're all actually making something for us first.
I was telling Safina yesterday that I hope Jay makes the 300, 400 crore blockbusters because you have that, unlike the schooling, you'll have this larger than life vision. You want to make that big spectacle.
I do.
You enjoy the spectacle. You
I do.
enjoy creating the spectacle. So I think that I was telling her yesterday only. I said, this is the beginning, and
Yeah, I only want to make, I like.
don't say I only want to make.
No, I
You
don't
never
only
say
want to
no.
make this. I feel like I enjoy movies that actually give me a great experience of music, of sound, of scale, of speed.
No, I
of
also
thrill.
enjoy watching them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've grown up watching these, and all I'm trying to do is channel my childhood in everything I'm making, because that's actually where my first learning came. I think what I want to know is, so I got into movies because of you, and because I saw you and your work. And how did you get into movies? Why did you think you want to get into movies? Because none of our people, no one in our family was from the movies.
I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't know. I still get up in the morning thanking my stars that I'm doing this. Otherwise, I would have been bored to death by now. Doing anything else, being a computer programmer, working for a financial, I don't know why this name keeps cropping up, McKinsey and Company. It has nothing to do with my life, McKinsey. But I keep saying I might have been in McKinsey. The name sounds very good. It might be a good name for the next season of Scam. But it just keeps cropping up, and I would have been a McKinsey and Company, leading, having a house in New Jersey, and none of us would have been, neither me nor you would have been filmmakers. You would have studied in some school in
I don't want
New
to live
Jersey,
in New Jersey.
And we would have.
I'd rather
been
live in
living-
Navi Mumbai than New Jersey.
But that's on hindsight. I mean, this is all. That's what I'm saying. That life takes you in such unexpected places. But when you were 2 or 3 years old, I called you to Fiji with your mom, with Sunita. You guys came to Fiji to stay with me, and that was the turning point of my life. I went to Fiji and realized that why do I need to do what I've been programmed to do, what I've been conditioned to do. Maybe I need to explore more in life. I was at that time, I was barely 24 years old when you came to Fiji. I was 24 or 25 years old when you came to Fiji.
Yeah, you must have been 24.
24, 25 when I was in Fiji, and you came there with your mom, and I sort of, I was wondering that why should life be compartmentalized into one thing that you've been trained and which you never even really opted for. You opted for it because you saw that as the only alternative in your life, as the only career that you could choose. And that was, computers. It was the lucrative career to take. Me, all my batchmates, everybody saw it that way. And of course, I was privileged. Again, my parents supported me, never pushed me into it. I went into that profession, but a year later, when we all returned back to India, they were quite shocked and a bit troubled that I said, I don't like this anymore, I want to do something else. And they were worried that, this guy is just constantly jumping things. What will happen to him? I think luckily Khana Khazana happened because I developed a love for cooking in Fiji. And Khana Khazana happened, and Khana Khazana, I think, was the turning point. It changed my life. It told you that, this was a way that I could enjoy what I'm doing, and I could also keep the house, in a metaphorical way, keep the kitchen running.
Yeah. Keep the lights on. Keep the lights running.
Keep the kitchen on, khana khazana banao, keep the kitchen running.
Keep the kitchen running.
And yeah, so that sort of, but I still don't know. I still keep learning. I learned the craft from Rajpal, who was my cameraman in Khana Khazana. He taught me so much.
Sushil Raj.
Sushil Rajpal, yeah. Rajpal taught me so much. And so I think that process has never ended.
He also shot Jayate.
He shot Jayate also. So the process, no, of learning. So even today, I learned from Pratham, who is 3 years younger than you also.
Yeah.
And who's our DOP. So I learned from him also. It's the learning never stops. You pick up from all the people that are around you. Because I came as somebody who was already unlearning. I am always in the process of unlearning and learning afresh. That keeps you fresh. That keeps you going. And that has made me. That's why in filmmaking is that very. People say it's a very unforgiving profession, but it's actually very forgiving. That you have chances.
You do.
You keep getting chances. Yes, you. I think your integrity towards the craft needs to come out in what you do. People might like it something more than something else. This might be liked more than that. But if your craft shows evolution, growth, I think there is place for you to evolve. There's place for you to express. When I could not do anything, I would make short films. When I could not do anything, I would make music videos. When I could not do anything, I would edit. But that process never stopped, constantly learning. And I think that is what I tell everyone. I tell you also that, don't stop working.
Yeah.
Don't stop working, party but work. Don't stop working because work is a great party.
I haven't stopped working since I was 17 now.
Are you hungover right now? You're looking hungover or you have not slept at night?
No, I'm not hungover.
You look like you have
I
not
don't
slept.
drink.
Acha, okay. No comments. Why did you say yes to lootere? And we, this is a secret I must tell people that on Scam we had the maximum fights and we had decided never to work with each other again.
Yeah.
So why did you take up lootere? What sort of drove you to taking it up?
So, Scam just released, and I think 2-3 months later, I'd gone diving. I was in Thailand, and I remember Shailesh ji called and said कि एक script है, तू पढ़ ले बस. मैंने बोला ठीक है मैं पढ़ लूँगा. So he sent me 3 episodes. I think that's all they kind of had then. I remember reading the script and it felt exciting. I felt like I don't even know how did they think of writing this. And when he told me that ये hotstar का show है, I said, really, they've agreed to make this show? Because I remember, we used to, there's always, I was quite surprised and I said, really? I said, करते हैं? I said, मौका मिलने वाला है इंडिया के बाहर शूट करने का पहली बार. सबसे पहले I think that was the first thing I was most excited about. I said, चलो we'll at least get out of the country and shoot. We won't just keep going to Dongri, Nagpada, Balad Estate. I think that was the first thing. I was a little more like greedy, first. But then when I think I started reading into it and then I realized that, and I'd already said yes. I read the pilot and I'd already said yes. And I think after the contracts and all were starting to get drawn, and that's when I read the 2nd and 3rd episode. Because they were still finishing it and I said, अरे कहाँ फंस गया मैं? ये तो बहुत बड़ा है. And but then again I feel like I started reading, I started seeing a lot of old films, and what I had to actually learn for lootere was editing an action film, editing an adventure movie. I think it's very different from how dramas are, relationship dramas or courtroom dramas are edited. I think there's a certain style, there's a certain way you have to shoot certain scenes, and it's something I only learned while we were prepping for this. And I realized that if someone's slapping someone or punching someone, I mean, of course they're not going to hit each other in real, So I had to learn how to keep the camera at a certain angle to make it look more appealing? How do I move, in what direction do I move the camera to constantly make it feel realistic? And yeah, I felt the editing was intense. Editing and learning how to shoot this was intense. Everything else still came naturally to me. I feel performances is something that came naturally to me because I've seen you work with actors, and it has been the best, and I feel even actors really enjoy working that way. What I realized was that I have also assisted on films where, some directors also, when I was an AD, some directors like to go and perform the scene for their actors. So they go, they enact the scene and say कि तुम यहाँ से ऐसे जाओ और फिर यहाँ घूमो, यहाँ आवाज आ रही है. And actors are actually, what they're doing is they're copying the director. They're not actually putting themselves in that position or in that situation. And I feel what I learned from you, what I've learned from Anurag sir, is that I think the actors, like over here, what I would do was, if there's like Rajat sir is there, Vivek is there, or Amruta, Amir, all of them, I think the most amazing thing was that, one, they're very receptive. Two, they did not really have a problem with me changing their dialogues very often. And three, when they would come and say कि क्या करना है, I'd say मुझे नहीं पता, आप एक बार जो scene है आप एक बार कर लो. What have you guys thought? First do it once and then we will see. And so they'd just do the scene, and then all we do is sit and tweak things. And then ultimately I'd say, okay, let's do the whole scene once again, and then I'd call Jal, a cinematographer, and we'd just sit on the side and watch them, and they'd enact the scene, and then after that is when we would start placing the camera. And that is what you do. We place the camera for the performance. We don't make the actors perform in our frame. We frame for the performance. And I think that's why most of the work we've done also has really good, really memorable performances, because we've also given the actors that freedom to explore their characters, because at the end of the day, they're not puppets. I mean, they are our closest collaborators. They are filmmakers too. We have to let them. They also bring a lot to the table, and we need to give them the space to do that. And that is what we do as directors. We're not controlling them. They're not puppets.
They actually make your story come alive.
Yeah.
If there's one false note and the story can go wrong. No, so this is a similarity. I mean, the thing that I can say after seeing the show is that there is a certain larger than life the action, the way, when I used to come on set also, I used to see all this, the drone flying in and out all the time. It's something that I use very sparingly in my work. And I would see that and I would say, okay, there's this. So while you are working on the performances, there's also this, wanting to constantly create the spectacle. Also, I mean, from you, I have picked up this to trust the VFX process. It's something I had no faith in until a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
VFX.
I've learned to trust VFX, and it's all. I think I am very excited for the world to see what has been created, what you have executed, that vision, to be thrilled by the show. I keep telling everyone, when they ask me serious questions, I say, this is an entertaining show.
It is.
This is a thriller.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it for that.
Yeah.
Don't come in expecting
people
too much
think
intellectual baggage. It is intelligent, but it is not meant to, neither insult nor provoke your intelligence in any way. It's meant to stimulate your
and entertain.
Stimulate you in an entertaining manner.
Yeah, and I don't. That was never the approach. We never, Vishal and I, whenever we were writing, also, the approach was never to make something. Of course, we're making a serious. It's engaging. It's serious. It's intense at times. But it's always it's something you're going to want to watch. It's a lot of fun.
You know, it's a,
It's intense
Again,
and it's fun.
you know,
It's
again,
loud.
with Faraz, I used to wonder, okay, you know, how do you hold a hostage drama, which is basically set after one point, it's set in one location,
Yeah.
one or two locations. Like, how do you hold the interest of the audience? And, you know, so you have done that over a space of 8 episodes.
Yeah.
You know, that in that entire, is there any film or show that you remember in this genre which you have really liked?
I don't think I've really seen, but you know, a show I really enjoyed was, I remember I had watched this show just before when we were writing, actually, when we were prepping, we'd already finished the drafts. 000. Oh, what a show. It's so good. I felt there was something about that show where it's a story that's been like told, done to death, like God knows how many times, you know, everyone, John Woo se leke, everyone's made it, you know, but it's just, how do you tell that same story that everyone's heard, everyone's seen, everyone knows, and spin it on its head and give it the most fresh, you know, look ever. So I think 000 played a very big hand, and in just for us, you know, approaching the look of the show differently.
I'm hoping the audience sees it for what it is, and
It's
beyond
just
that,
fun.
And
It's
yeah.
It's
You
loud,
have-
it's explosive, and it's got great music.
you have the blessings of your parents, your grandparents, and all those who have wanted to see you do what you're doing right now. And you know, I think this is just the beginning of a glorious career, and all the best.